welcome back to another episode of On a Mission. I'm your host, Dr. Wendy Norfleet with Norfleet Integrated Solutions, and it is my pleasure to have with me Gautam Bose with Accolade Home Loans. Welcome, Gautam.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming. And so, before we get into your company, tell us a little bit about you, because when people work with someone, they want to know a little bit about that person.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So I'm a grandfather of 3 grandsons.
Oh.
They are 6, 4, and 6 months old.
Okay, so you're very busy. And they keep you active.
and my wife is busier than me. Then I have got 2 daughters, 2 son-in-laws, wife of 37 years.
Congratulations.
And 2 dogs.
Oh, wow.
So
what
that's
kind of
me.
dogs? I'm curious.
Shelties.
Okay.
Shetland sheep dogs, both are 3 years old. They keep me the busiest.
Oh, wow. I can imagine. It keeps you in shape too, though, right?
That is right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I always tell people, if you have a dog, especially a large one, and you're not in shape, you must not be walking a dog enough.
Exactly. And they wake you up, and they don't know when is Memorial Day or any other
Right.
day. They will make you get up and walk every day.
Yeah. That's good for us, though, right?
Yes,
So we can't complain.
absolutely.
My dog does the same thing. So tell us a little bit about what got you started with Accolade Home Loans.
Yes. So I have spent about 30 years in the financial services industry. Initially, for 15 plus years, I was in the banks and working primarily in the lending businesses. And then after the GFC, the Great Financial Crisis, then I switched into wealth management. So I worked for Fidelity Investments, National Australia Bank, and TIA Bank.
Okay.
So after that, there came a point where I decided that enough of this corporate rat race, and I got to try something on my own. Otherwise, I'll regret it that I never gave it a shot. So I did all this work where I was never in customer-facing situations. So I started my own company. In customer-facing situations, I'm trying and helping customers attain their American dream of owning a home. And this is something I know very well.
Okay.
I know how to help. And so that's what got me into this home loan business.
That's really great. So do you do different types of programs for like the first-time buyers and the veterans and things like that?
Exactly,
Okay.
like you said. So we have first-time home buyers. We of course have people who are buying their second and subsequent homes. We actually also work with people who are, especially in this market, downsizing, which is getting out of their bigger homes and going into smaller places. We absolutely work with veterans and do the VA loans. We also work in the rural markets, big farm properties, and do the USDA loans. And so essentially the government funds a lot of this home loan business.
There's a lot of programs that people are not aware of.
Right. So, and that's the point I wanted to make, was that because of my experience, it is those kind of programs which actually help people to make home buying easier. That's really the sweet spot where you can get to help people. So people who have tried and struggled and have not been able to buy the home, they come to me. Somebody tells them to go and talk to him. They talk to me, they figure out what they need to fix, and they fix it. It still doesn't happen. They try again, and through that effort happens. So I don't make much in those things, but what happens is that there is such incredible satisfaction in helping people.
It's something about being able to say, wow, this person is going away satisfied, and I helped them accomplish a dream.
That person, the whole family, the children,
it changes the
it is remarkable.
For the whole family. Yes.
And as a grandfather, that's really what you appreciate the most.
Okay, wow. So I know there's program. I'm going to talk about something specific, and I can't remember the name of it, but there's a program that you can get a house that maybe is not quite up to where you want it to be, and if it's priced right, you can actually build in that additional money to get the house, like some work done on the house. And I can't remember what it's called. I had that long time ago, my very first house.
Right. So there are a few programs like that where you get into a home, and I don't think that's what you're talking about, but there are things like where you can come in and you are not able to get the house that you want to have, but you have something intermediate. And then after some time, as you have performed, you turn it over and you move on to the next level. And because of the scarcity of homes now, home prices are continuously going back.
Right.
So once you have got into the stepping stone of buying the first home, what will happen is your ability to buy the next one becomes easier.
It's much easier.
Absolutely.
I went through hoops on my very first house, but every house subsequent to that, I haven't had any problems.
And pretty much it is everybody's experience, no matter how high the rate is now. But the reality is that you need to get into your first home, and it is better than renting, and then progressively progress in that ladder, right?
That's great
and
advice.
being able to afford it, yeah.
And I was going to ask you what advice would you give, but you kind of gave it to them. But so if someone's thinking about buying a house, what would you tell them to do? Because there's things you can get ready. I mean, obviously, if you have a lot of debt, you probably want to work some of it down. There's things you can do to put yourself in a better position.
Right. So fundamentally, what I do is this. I try to, when people come to me, and especially not even applying for a home, just give me advice, like the question you asked, is about understand how the home approval process works, home loan approval process works. So the main thing is your credit score, which is make sure you're making all your payments on time.
Right.
That's key. Make sure your debt is not out of hand. So there is the ratio that they look at most is debt to income.
Right.
Your ability to service your debt of all the credit card debt you have, your auto loan that you have, and then if you buy the house, where will it be? If it will be more than 50% of your income. So be aware of that. Do that calculation all the time. So if you're prepared, if your mind is focused on that, you are doing all the right things.
Okay.
So that's really the way to prepare for the home purchase journey, especially the first-time home buyers.
Right. So let me ask you something, because I know somebody that this happened to recently. They got ready to buy their home, they got approved and everything, but when they got closer to closing, they weren't able to get their home. And I'm sure you probably know why, because they got really excited, they started buying stuff for the new home, and I guess no one told them that you really don't want to get additional credit during that process.
Fantastic thing. So as part of the advice, I missed that point, is that you have to say, now that you have made your application, I have pulled your credit, I have calculated your debt to income, I've looked at your assets of the checking account balance, savings account balance, so I know you can service the loan. Now the question is, do not go and change your credit, which means do not go and get a new inquiry.
Right.
Do not apply for a new credit.
Or not put a big balance on there.
Big balance on there.
Right.
Actually, do not open a new credit account.
Right.
Plain and simple. That dramatically changes, because especially first-time home buyers, they're already on the edge. And if this little thing happens, what underwriters look at is, what are they doing? So if they cannot wait for the closing to happen and they already start doing it, what will they do after the closing?
Wow.
So those are the questions in people's mind, and they make judgments based on that, right or wrong. That's what they do. So that is why, in terms of advice, very important point, thank you for the pointer, that once you apply for the loan, stay absolutely still.
Okay.
Get the closing done, then the next step.
Wow. Yeah, I can't stress that enough. Thank you so much. And I know this has to be really rewarding, because I remember when I first got my first house, and I still am friends with my realtor. So with that first house, because it was such a, it was such an occasion for me. And so we still touch base.
Fantastic. Thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Please check out Accolade Home Loans, and Gautam will be more than happy to offer advice. And we'll see you next time on Buzz TV.